Hi guys, how you doing? Senior Gaming here, and I'm bringing you Super Arrow with 10 tips for beginners. So if you're Super Arrow player or perhaps idle gamer, then make sure you subscribe to the channel as I post as often as possible and bring you best tips and advice. And if you enjoy what you see, then smash this like button as well. Right then guys, I've got for you 10 tips for beginners that I wish to know when I have started out, and I have made quite a lot of different mistakes that I want you to definitely prevent so you can have a nicer and smoother journey progressing within the game. Also, what you want to do is then browse my channel where you can find a more in-detail guide in regards to these very titles as well as obviously other games. And without further ado, I'm gonna kick off now with number one, which is select your build type. So in here, obviously, you got two main options. If I tap on the skills, it's easier to pretty much picture it. So the first option and the first build people can go with is gonna be a physical build. And then everything else will gonna fall into a second category, which gonna be a magical build. When it comes to starting out early stages, you're actually gonna have more physical builds, main skills as well as obviously sub skills, and everything else related you want to actually enhance for this particular build. In the later stages, and this is where majority players will end up with, it's gonna be your magical build. But bear in mind, anything you do in this game, you'll be able to reset. Sometimes you need some of the unique items, but you will be able to grind them absolutely for free, being as a regular reward or perhaps an item in an event. So if you decide to switch it at some point, nothing to worry about, you'll be able to do it absolutely for free. Right, so the number two are abilities, and these gonna be actually directly related to a build you have selected. So if I tap onto a hero and abilities itself, this is where you're gonna get rewarded with these gems every single time you're going to level up. And every single time you do so, you're gonna get a free gems to distribute. And because I'm currently running my magical build, you definitely want to focus on selecting one of a damage enhance. So in this case, it's a level 500 of increased magical attack. Then despite if you are physical or magical, your second point is gonna be to upgrade all critical hit damage. Obviously we go in here full offense. Then you want to go with experience and gold drop to enhance it and have it boosted at all times. And then you want to split your stats between accuracy and a little bit of HP boost. HP boost is gonna be great for these late stages and a grind. One of the aspects I'm gonna touch base later on. And accuracy is gonna be always needed, so you ensure once you're comfortably farming, you're not missing monsters, and once you hit them and deal damage. Okay, so the number three is gonna be pretty much to follow your quest, and you can find this menu obviously just above your skill sets, and this is where the game will suggest what you should be doing. And at the same time, because you're gonna go and fulfill these requirements anyway, you're gonna get a handful of diamonds, which is a premium currency, and it's always great to get. The number four is gonna be to do not rush stages, and pretty much you even want to keep it as low as one world lower than your max power. So what it means, currently as you see I'm farming in a stage 12.8, if I tap on the stages I can go all the way to world 13, stage 13.8 or even unlock 13.9. There is a certain aspect of the game that I will talk in just a second where I want you to go to your maximum stage, but you don't want to rush too much ahead and pretty much unlocking these new stages, because if you do, everything alongside, especially adventures, will become harder and tougher to compete with. So you want to gradually go slowly and slowly up, and bear in mind this actually will outperform going for a stronger stages. If you grind on a lower stages, you're gonna be absolutely much better off. You're gonna get more lower tier items, upstones, orbs. Any of the items you're gonna obviously start unlocking gonna drop much more in quantities, and therefore you'll be able to actually grow stronger. This will actually link directly to a number 5, and this is always grind events. And this is where currently we actually got one, and therefore I am 10 stages lower where I can farm. So in here I want to ensure every single time I hit the monsters, I only hit them once. So obviously despite not actually farming gold in here, everything else is pretty much dropping like a crazy. So I'll be able to drop not only items that I would drop on a regular basis, but as well tons and tons of the event items. So you always want to pretty much get prepared, and if you need to go much lower stages for the event purposes, it's always worth, because the grades are reward and would definitely surpass anything that you could get whilst not grinding on these low stages. Then number 6 is gonna be a Transcendence Stone. So again, if I tap on to hero itself, it's one of these major parts you want to definitely invest in first. So I have made that mistake, and I have actually upgraded some of the skills, because you'll be able to spend Transcendence Stone on the skills, you'll be able to go and upgrade some gear. So there is a lot of use for these stones. They are very rare and hard to get, and as you see now, going into a next level, I need 100 of those. So as you see, currently we got level 35, which has been increased with the latest patch. So if it comes to spending this, a very premium currency, you definitely want to go into a hero transcend first. Make sure you max it out. This way you're gonna grow stronger so much faster than investing in skills on a gear, especially in the early stages. Then when it comes to a diamonds itself, so diamonds obviously gonna be a premium currency that I have mentioned you might get from a quest itself. So you're gonna get a gold as an ordinary one, and a diamonds. Again, you can go and spend real currency to obviously boost this counter, or you'll have to grind quest, etc., anything in the game to get them. And when it comes to spending these diamonds itself, when it comes to a shop, I definitely recommend that you will only spend it on a gear and you will skip skills. Once you actually go in a later stage and you're trying to farm a specific skill, I definitely recommend to spend some, but you should definitely focus and invest heavily into gear itself. In the long run, you will need absolutely tons and tons of diamonds, and therefore you'll be also grinding your gear, especially if you're farming on the lower stages. That should speed up the process, but you will need absolutely tons and tons, and the skills itself earlier or later will land in your inventory. And the next point for you I've got is to grind your masteries. So if I head over into skills itself, and the last tab here is a mastery. Mastery is nothing else, it's pretty much a grinding and using a particular skill type in order to then increase its damage. So as you see, I got some of the skills already on a level 1000, because this is a max one, so you can boost your skill damage by a 1000%. Some of them I'm still grinding to upgrade. And the best way actually to grind your masteries, I have actually released a separate video. If you haven't checked it out, I definitely encourage you to do so. It's to actually go into as high stage as possible in comparison to what I have mentioned earlier. When you actually grind in much harder monster, it means that you don't need to travel around the map so much, because the monsters are actually tough enough so you can stay basically in one place and keep throwing a lot of skills into obviously your enemies, and therefore boosting your masteries much quicker. The next on the list is pretty much to upgrade your pets in order to get your engraves. So if I want to head over into a support itself, and a pet is a first tab. So as you're gonna keep progressing within the game, you'll be unlocking a total of 7 pets. Which pet you actually got equipped, it doesn't really matter. They all give you an own effect, which means it's a permanent passive bonus. And as you see, all of my pets are now on level 100, which means I got all engraves unlocked. These engrave effects will be unlocked pretty much as your pets will progress, and then finally you're gonna have a total of 7 bonuses to unlock. At the same time, you want to ensure you got these bonuses related to your build. So as you see, because I'm a magical build, I've got everything related to it. So I've got extra attack, critical damage or penetration. Bear in mind, you're gonna have a skills like boost all attack damage. You want to avoid it, especially in the later stages. You want to pretty much specify yourself with your desired build. And there is definitely recommendation to go alongside with all your pets, so definitely do not rush and try to get a first one on level 100. Try to get all pets on level 50, because this way, despite you might have 3 or 4 slots, you are actually gonna have a multiple slots obviously on every single one of these pets. Therefore your damage and everything else you're trying to go around it will be higher. Okay, And that will then finally goes into a very last point, and this is something we have recently had added, and this is a guild. You want to definitely join guild as soon as possible. There is a little bit more fun as well. Obviously you're gonna have extra tips and advice, but there are extra rewards for being a part of the guild. So again, we got this only for a few weeks now, couple seasons has gone through, so definitely you want to enjoy this part of a game, because this is where you're gonna have additional transcend stones, you know, additional rewards, keys for dungeons, etc. So it's definitely something you want to take part of. And then finally, because we already gone with a 10 tips, it's one extra, and this is you can either play, as you see myself, on a single play channel, or you can often use a low power mode, especially if you do some adventure or dungeons. And the reason I'm saying that, actually now it's quite easy to end up with a 3 or 4 players in a map when everybody using a magical build, and because of so much pressure with all these graphics going on the screen, you can actually tell that often your game will continue crash, or perhaps the gameplay itself it's not smooth. So if you need to, it's not a fully recommended, because there are perks when you're playing online. You're actually gonna grind faster, so everything is killed on the map will have a pretty much overall split around the players. So there are certain perks with it, but if your game cannot really handle it, I definitely recommend that you go either on a single player or on this use low power mode. So that will be it, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, I'll see you next time.